Welcome to Forte Catholic. I'm Taylor Schroll. That is Christopher Bartlett. What's up, Chrissy?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, which is probably news after people didn't hear from us for many months, and then they heard about our little updates last month. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot of good things happening. My daughter's graduating. It's good. Like things are happening. It's hard, but things are happening. Yeah.
That means this is going to be a bad podcast because people always like it whenever at least one of us is just down in the dumps and yelling and angry. So our lives are going so well that the podcast is going to be terrible.
I've got a really good head scratcher for you, though. There is a segment that I want to do called "What Would Taylor Do?" and I need your advice on something. So I think it's going to be a good time by all.
Well, let's do it. Let's hop right in.
Okay, so here's the scenario. Recently, I moved my mom down to Texas. She's getting older, and my brother
would not have done that. Next segment.
Next, no. My mom's already in Texas. Why would I move her down? So she's getting a little bit older, and it's just good to have family closer by. So we're nearby. My sister's nearby. We all love grandma. It's great. And we move her into a little row house less than a mile away from my house. And while we're unloading boxes, I'm out. I forget. I think I was actually driving my mom home because the rental truck, which my brother-in-law drove, got here first. And so my kids are here. They're helping unload. Things are great. And the neighbor across the street comes across the street and says, "Hey, my name's this." And they introduce themselves. It's like, "Hey, is your dad?" I went to high school with a Chris Bartlett. Is your dad Chris Bartlett? And they're like, "Yeah, my dad's Chris Bartlett." And he's like, "Whoa." So now who's moving in? This is his mom, blah, blah, blah. Wow. Chris Bartlett's mom is moving in across the street from me. This is amazing. Tell your dad I say hi. Then he looks me up.
His mom has got it going on.
Dun,
She's
dun,
all
dun.
I want, and I've waited for so long. Yeah, we all think about your mother as the girl next door. So I just want
she's in her 70s. Just really locking that visual picture. She's in her 70s, and not quite frail, but not quite not frail. So he messages me on Facebook. "Hey, just wanted to reach out, let you know I live across the street from your mom." I'm like, "Cool." And then my daughter is like, "Yeah, I met this guy. He said he graduated high school with you." So then I'm there at my house, flash forward like a month, right? I'm there at my mom's house and we're getting in the car to go watch, Maycember. So one of these endless events that happens during May. I think it was a choir concert, but maybe it was an awards banquet. And he comes across, it's like, "Hey, I just wanted to say hi." And I look at him. I've never seen this guy before in my life. Like I look at him,
and he looks at me,
and he's got the Taylor going on, a beard and bald, and it just seems like he's a good guy. And I'm like, "Hey, what year did you graduate?" I'm trying to triangulate and place it. He's like, "Same as you, class of '98." And then I feel weird. I'm like, "I was class of '98. That's right." And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Yeah, man, crazy all these years later that we're down here. And you live in the same neighborhood. I still remember the school fight song." He's like, "Yeah, I think I could probably think of it." And then it was like, "Okay, let's go." He didn't start singing it. There was nothing about it, but I was kind of testing him to see if he would like follow along. And then that night I go home and I find a couple of my yearbooks. I didn't find my senior yearbook. I found my junior yearbook, which is a story because I had a ridiculous haircut during my junior year. But I look up, and he's nowhere to be found. His first name starts with a D. His last name starts with a J. There are literally 0 students that have that first name, last name combo, first initial, last name combo. Like maybe he went by something different. There's only one person in the whole school that has that last name, and it's a female. And so now I'm really confused. And so then I go back to his Facebook message and click on his Facebook. And sure enough, it says, "Hey, grew up in Austin, Texas, went to high school at this high school in Austin. I went to high school in Denver, Colorado, Taylor. There is no chance this is the same guy unless he was up in Denver, Colorado just for senior year because I couldn't find that yearbook." So now I've got to interact with this guy like we graduated high school together, or I've got to clarify it, which might be awkward. Or maybe I'm crazy. I'm not being gaslit intentionally, certainly, but not being gaslit. Maybe I'm just literally crazy. So What would you do in this scenario?
Simply remember everyone that I graduated with. There was only 560 of them. I would just remember all of them.
I was at 199. I had less than you, and I can remember myself. That knocks it to 198.
So this person first approached your daughter?
Yes. So he had not seen me. He's like, "Hey, I'm the neighbor across the street. Oh yeah, this is, my mom's name." But the name Bartlett stuck out to him. So he's like, "Wait, is your dad Chris Bartlett? I think I graduated high school." I think there's a chance that his high school in Austin, there might also have been a Chris Bartlett. Is that a possibility?
When he saw you, did he act like he recognized you?
No. Well, no, he came up and said, "Hey, I wanted to introduce myself now that I see you out here." And I was like, "Oh, you're the guy that went to high school with me?" He's like, "That's right."
It's very funny that you said that he physically fell off, and that's probably what he's thinking about you. I'm imagining that the Chris Bartlett that went to high school with him in Austin was like the coolest kid ever, would never have the dumb haircut that you did your junior year, and was just like the jockiest guy ever. And then 20 years later, he's like, "Yikes, this guy really fell off."
Yeah. Wow. Yeesh. He doesn't even know like he knows what a football is. Yeah, he doesn't look like he knows what a football is. So do I go and say, "Hey, Bucko, we're not, I don't think I'm the person you thought I was, and you're not, but let's just allow this awkward moment to wash over us so that we can still both be like, hey, I'm going to see you from time to time"? Or do I say nothing and just say, "Go high school"?
Are you going to see this person much? Like how often are you going to interact with your mom's across the street neighbor?
Yeah, probably 3 to 5 times a year. But there's this piece of me that's like, how did we go to high school together? Like, where was our high school? Physically tell me where you believe our high school was. Like, because now I'm thinking it's bothering me because I think I'm the crazy person.
So the likeliest thing, like, you don't think he moved? It said that he graduated from a school in Austin.
No, in his Facebook profile, it said he grew up, hometown is Austin, and that his high school was an Austin high school. But that doesn't mean that he traveled up to Colorado for his senior year and that we ended up in the graduating class together. Like, but why would I be memorable? I was a nobody in high school.
I almost brought up something really dark. Like,
thank you for not.
Was there a major school shooting at your high school?
That was the different high school in Littleton. And no, not during my senior year.
Oh man. I think usually when we do these segments, they matter. And this one just simply doesn't. Like, it just, like, what, you're never going to see this man. And if you do, like, I would simply let it go. But I know that you being the awkward person that you are, you're not going to.
I can't.
But you also don't have to make it a weird test, Chris. Just be like, "Hey, like who was your," like, you can literally just ask us, like, "Who'd you have for English senior year?" "Oh, I didn't have her. I had this person." "Who'd you have for science senior?" You don't have to interrogate the man because he thinks you're the wrong person. He's not a bad person for going to high school with another Chris Bartlett, and you're treating him like he's a criminal that's like attacking your mother and daughter.
I think it's an honest mistake. Maybe I just say that. I think you might have me confused with a different Chris Bartlett. But my fear is this. What if he's like, "No, dude, we used to play Magic the Gathering together at lunch." And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this was a friend of mine in high school and I don't remember them at all." And then I have to deal with the fact that I'm the monster.
So I don't think this story matters at all, but I think it almost did. You scared the crap out of me because you know what I like to talk about on the show and what I don't. And the way you told this story, and I don't think you have any idea that you did this. The way you told this story made it seem like DJ used to be Mrs. DJ. That's the way you told the story.
There's no way he has so much facial hair that is a possibility. So No,
But,
thankfully, there's nothing.
I thought you were going to have to make me make a decision on that. I'm like, I don't know if we're doing this.
No, there's nothing scandalous. I'm just confused. And this is just an awkward neighbor situation. And you're right. I'm probably going to see this neighbor maybe a total of 10 times for the rest of my existence. And 0 of those 10 times does this need to be brought up.
I'll tell you this. I struggle with this quite often with what I'm about to bring up. This whole idea that Jesus says that we must love our neighbors, like the people that I might mislike the most are my actual neighbors, other than next door. They're very nice. But like the neighbors,
the other side next door, not so much.
Right. We've talked about this, that like the people closest to us are typically the ones that annoy us the most. Our family first, and then our neighbors. So like that's why Jesus is saying like we must love our neighbors, and he's like expanding it. It's like, then who is my neighbor? And he's trying to say it's not just the people that you live next to. It's also all these people all across the world and Christians everywhere and all these people. But the hardest people are first family and then friends. So I've wrestled with that for years. You know what I've never wrestled with? My relationship with my mother's neighbors. I've never once concerned myself with that question ever, because I think even Jesus would be like, that's taking it a little too far. I met your neighbors in your church community and maybe giving to the poor. I didn't mean interrogate your mother's across the street neighbor. That's not what I meant when Jesus said you must love your neighbors.
He started it.
And I'm
okay, so maybe I just need to be told to calm my face down. Like I can calm down about this, but I do. There is a part of me that's like, it'd be great if we did go to high school together, because then I could be like, it's Sunday. Would you remind my mom from time to time to take her trash to the curb? Like just some of these new things that she doesn't really know about the neighborhood.
Christopher, you just opened up a whole new Pandora's box.
Do it.
If that's what you want out of this situation, you definitely went to high school with him. If you want him to be helpful to your mother, you definitely played Magic the Gathering with him in high school. You most certainly did. Y'all were the closest of friends. You remember everything.
I doubled down on the potential delusion because it could bear fruit on my mother's care.
Yes. Why not?
Oh,
who does it hurt? Everyone's helped in this situation. You get over your weird fixation on this. He thinks that he has a friend nearby and he gets to help an old lady and an old lady gets helped. Everyone wins.
We've seen this though. There's always that episode on some sitcom where the guy has 2 dates to the prom and it eventually comes out. The truth eventually comes out. And there's no credits at the end to roll. It's just now I have to live awkwardly and he knows where my mom lives.
How many dates is your mom going on these days? What are we talking about?
The truth always comes out in the end, Taylor.
Nah.
So you're saying why not just have a little fun?
I love this. You're gonna use him to be helpful for your mother for a little bit. Then he's gonna come up to you and be like, "What was that fight song again?"
And I'm cooked.
That's awesome. Fly, Eagles, fly. We were the Roadrunners, you idiot.
Yep. But we were the Mustangs. And I say this hoping he doesn't follow this podcast, because then he has now more information.
Okay. That would be the best. That's a whole nother layer. Now he has listened to this podcast because he Googled Chris Bartlett. He wants to get to know you. He wants to know what his high school friend has been up to. This gets posted. It goes up in the SEO. So when he Googles you, he sees this. He listens to this conversation, but pretends like he doesn't. And he uses it to get something out of you because we talked about using it to get something out of him. This is getting fun.
Yes.
You didn't bring anything to the table, but I have made this segment very entertaining.
Thanks. I would love the comments to give something more concrete, but right now you're saying it doesn't matter, so let's stop making it matter. So tell me something about your life then, Taylor.
No, we're not done with you.
Dang it.
How many things in your life are more important than this situation? Currently.
I would say the majority of them, but it is socially awkward.
Okay. But how much of your mind space has gone to this and knocked those important things down?
I'm such a type A personality that I've got to solve the puzzle. And
answer the question. You have a million more things in your life. What are the things that you have thought about more in the last week?
So
work,
maybe
family, faith. Is that it?
Work, family, my spiritual life. Yeah, maybe
Come on,
maybe
you've thought about this more than your spiritual life. Don't lie.
No, I have not.
tell the
No,
truth
I
here.
have not. But it's not to say that it's not close. It's a puzzle though, and my brain likes to like. I don't need to worry about where my next meal is coming from, even though my next meal is more important. But I have to solve this problem. I've already figured out there's a system. We have a system on how to eat. We have a system on how to clothe ourselves. All these different pieces that are clearly more important. But this one. It's an open puzzle, and I got to figure it out. I have to figure out why or how. I want to know if he went to high school with someone named Chris Bartlett that wasn't me. Yeah, it's an open-ended puzzle. That's why it's bothering me. It shouldn't bother you. You're right. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't bother you, but it is bothering me, and I am giving it too much time.
It's giving me incredible enjoyment. It shouldn't bother you at all. Like, it should have been an awkward moment. You thought about it. You tell your wife on the way home. Maybe you tell me, and then you move on with your life. Like, the things that I think about like this that take up too much brain space are like, if I said something that may have offended somebody, and I just start spiraling, and those are the things that matters.
Haunt you. You get haunted.
Relationships matter. Conversations matter. And then it's like, is this real? Like, all the things you're going through. Is this real? Did I actually say something wrong? Are they wrong? Am I wrong? Like, those are the things that occupy my brain space. But
the fact that he said class of 98, same as you, that was the thing that sticks with me to this day. I'm like, what that? And maybe that's just a shocking coincidence.
Have you ever watched the TV show Dexter?
No.
There's also a chance he's a serial killer and he's going to kill you soon. So I say that, I save that to the end because I've been telling you that, like, there's a 99% chance that this doesn't matter. You just need to let it go. But there is that 1% chance that he's just been stalking you and he knows all this information about you and he's trying to get close to you.
You missed the chance to save my life. And you're going to have to live with that forever.
I will think about this less than you're thinking about your situation.
Monster.
Oh, Chris, I've missed podcasting with you. This is very fun.
Good.
Speaking of, I had a situation like that a few weeks ago where I said something or did something where I offended someone, and I heard about it from somebody else, and I was told to apologize, and I sat with it for multiple days because the first night I was like, my entire reaction was under the theme, just because you're offended doesn't mean that you're right. And I think that's a very common thing in our our current culture.
Yes.
Is if a comedian says something that you don't like and you are offended, you think that you are right and that nobody else can say anything. And I just watched the roast of Kevin Hart. Hilarious. Do you know how many things that they said that were incredibly inappropriate, and the topics that they said that they talked about that were quote unquote not able to talk about?
95%, and the rest was the credits.
Yeah, exactly. And even during the credits, there was some stuff that I probably shouldn't say. But
sure.
Man, I had never really been able to give voice to something that I've been noticing in the culture until it happened again to me. This kind of thing has happened, but I guess just the mind space that I was in. And it was just kind of this.
So is it one of those things to where I can't be responsible for your feelings on how you react or receive this? That's kind of what you're saying. It's like, I can't, you're offended, but I can't be responsible for you being hurt by what was said.
Here's what I actually mean, because you and I have had conversations like this before, which is why I like revisiting it with you. But, this is one of those situations where someone was offended, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Most of the time in these situations, I'm like, okay, once they say something, I can see that. I apologize, move forward or whatever. But it was the stress of, we didn't end up talking about it for about a week because I needed some time, honestly, because I was like, I need some time, but where every day, like while you're ruminating about your mom's across the street neighbor, I'm ruminating about this friendship that I've had for many years and wondering if I ruined it.
Sure.
And
I get it.
And it was, I put off meeting with this person because of my assumption that they were going to come in and essentially just demand an apology and not want to have a conversation. And
Okay.
I think that, and I don't know this for sure, but I think that is what would have happened if I would have had that conversation more immediately, because I wasn't ready to. What ended up happening is that we came into the conversation 50-50, or as close to 50-50 as you can be, where I think most conversations where someone is offended, it is 100% offender, and the other person has to walk in with their tail between their legs and apologize and that sort of thing. And I'm like, unless I said something like, is your mom going on 2 dates every night? Something along those lines, or that your mom's the girl next door. Unless I said something like that, that's actually could be offensive.
Sure.
I don't know when that would have happened, but
Ever.
Unless I said something that actually was wrong or mean or rude or whatever, but I'm talking about when I'm saying a joke and everyone knows that it's a joke and you don't like the joke, that doesn't mean that you're right. So
Was it a joke? Is that what you're referencing, or are you saying it was a situation like that?
both.
Okay.
It was like I said a joke, and I also assumed on a friendship and assumed on some vulnerability, and this person didn't want to be vulnerable. So it's like, okay, fine. I could have asked, but part of the thing was part of the comedy and the enjoyment of the evening and proving the point that I was trying to make was this person being surprised. And to be honest, they performed admirably, and it drove home. This is at church, it's driving home the point that I'm trying to make. They just were like, hey, in the future, I'd like to know and not be kind of called out of the blue. And I'm like, perfectly fine, because there's some assumption of I'm the kind of person that it's easy for me to get up and be the center of attention or the person that everybody's listening to or looking at, right?
Right.
Even at church, I'm not the center of attention, but Jesus is, but I'm everyone's looking at me and listening to me, right? Okay, fine. This person was like, I'm not as used to that. I'm like, okay, fair. And also I don't care about being the butt of the joke. Maybe this person did. Okay. Okay. I can hear that and apologize and say, I'll do better next time. But also the two things that were rubbing me the wrong way were, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And number two, I didn't hear about it from this person. I heard about it from somebody else.
That would have bothered me as well. I noticed that right as you told the story. Yeah, that hurts.
And that I was able to. So after a week, I was able, we were able to her credit too, we were able to have this conversation where we came in essentially 50-50 and be like, when you did this, it hurt, and here's why. And then I was able to respond, when you did this, it hurt, and here's why. And we both apologized and moved on. We apologized for our part in it. It was mostly just a misunderstanding. We're fine, we're friends or whatever. But this happened a lot when I worked at a Blaze, and it happens a lot because I have a big, bold personality.
Right.
Where a lot of people are they're intimidated to come talk to me, which is strange because if you come talk to me, I'm not big and intimidating. I'm actually quite soft, right?
Unless it's on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But we were able to have a conversation. Everything was good. But I was essentially, I knew that she was sad all week, and I was mad all week because I'm like, there's no reason to be offended by this part. I also heard from the information that I got from the other person was wrong. I heard that it was about the joke, and the joke was inappropriate. And then the actual person said it was actually being called up and being put on the spot. That was the problem. So I came into the conversation with the wrong information because I didn't hear it from the correct person. And this happened a lot when I was at a Blaze. That's what I was saying. When big, bold personality, my direct reports would have an issue with something that I said or did, or they didn't like how I handled something, whatever. And they wouldn't come talk to me. They'd go straight to the boss. And I'm like, no, literally, this isn't just a Taylor's personal pet peeve. And I guess some scriptural things can be personal pet peeves. We all have our favorite things in scripture and then the things that we struggle with in scripture. I understand that, right? But for me, it's if you have a problem with someone, you go and talk to them. If they do not listen, you bring a friend. And if they still don't listen, then you bring in the pastor. And then if they don't listen, you go to the bishop, and then they get kicked out of the church. That's in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So It drives me nuts when somebody, because that means that one, they don't trust me enough to come and talk to me. Two, it means that they're gossiping about me. And I don't like that at all. Another person is having to be brought into this thing. And now I'm the bad guy to at least one other person, if not a group of people, without me having a way to share my point of view, right? To have this 50-50, a little bit more even friendship.
Yeah, but where does it go if what if it's not that big of a deal and she just needed to process it. So she grabbed a trusted friend and said, "Hey, this is what happened. I think I'm a little bit offended. I didn't like it." And then they came to you trying to fix it and said, "Hey, this," and she would have been just good enough. Like I share things with my spouse all the time where I'm just kind of venting, and I vent and it's done. I don't need any type of other reconciliation. I just need to be like, that was weird. That was hard. That felt a little bit off. That felt a little bit rude. Oh, well, that's a Tuesday. Move on with my life. And that's that. Would you consider that gossip, or is there a space to be able to do that where it wouldn't fall into gossip, even though in this case, yeah, it might not.
Yeah. The thing is that if you don't come and talk to me before, my mind starts spiraling, and you could have talked to 1,000 people and I have no idea. Does that make sense? Like where, like, if you don't come and talk to me, if I hear it from somebody else, it means that you talk to somebody else, right? Where when you go home and talk to your wife, typically you're not saying, "Hey, Taylor, I talked about this with my wife." And your conversation with your wife, your confidant, even if you're not married or whatever, your confidant or whatever. But like, if I make you mad, you're going to tell me when we get off this call, "Hey, I didn't like that joke about my mom being the girl next door." Okay, fine, right? But I'm not going to get a text from Kendra in 3 hours saying you really hurt Chris's feelings, right? Like, even if you were going to go and talk to her about it and then say, "Hey, actually, that didn't sit right with me," whatever. Like, you would come back to me because we have a friendship, a relationship, all those sorts of things, right? But when I get a text at 10:30 at night, it ruined my sleep that night. It ruined my sleep the next night. I slept through the next night because I was exhausted. Then it ruined my sleep the next night because I'm stressing about it. And it's this mixture, depending on the day, it's this mixture of anger or sadness or guilt. Like I'm kind of oscillating between all these feelings throughout the week. Like I'm the bad guy or she's the bad guy or we just need to resolve this. But like it took me some time to kind of work through this in order to be in a place where I could do it in a healthy manner. But I think that's one of the reasons why that scripture says what it says is go and talk to the person, because we at a Blaze, and my wife and I use all the time the whole crucial conversations idea. There's so many times where like I do or say something that you take the wrong way or doesn't sit well with you, and I didn't mean anything by it. Sometimes I do, sometimes you do. That's whatever. Sometimes we can be jerks, but I'm talking about the times that I'm not actively trying to be a jerk or silly or make it, whatever.
Which, right? For me are often. I end up stepping on people's toes just because I'm clumsy with my words. I don't have a very thick filter. It's gotten better over the years, but sometimes taking the filter off is actually more fun. But then there's moments where it's like, but you just said that, and that's why we have the filter. And I'm like, yes, I guess we can't have nice things. We can't have fun. Right. Put the filter back in. Yeah. But I feel bad because your sleep has already not been on the tins. You've been struggling with sleep. And so that's a bummer. There's no machine to help that.
Well, there is, and I've been using it, but that's a conversation for later. But like, I think that's the thing is that like, I don't know. It's this weird idea where like I felt like I was the bad guy the whole time and they didn't see how this was hurting me. When, okay, that's a mean thing to say if I assault someone, like if I walk up and I punch somebody and then I'm like, "Oh, but you don't know how this is affecting my sleep. I could go to jail." Okay, that's fully on me. That's fully my fault, right?
Right.
Where this one, it was either somewhat my fault or halfway my fault or a little less. Like there's some wiggle room of like, look, I didn't intend to do harm. I did do harm, but now harm has been done to me in return. So I don't know. That's just been a big thing on my mind of like, if you have a problem with somebody, like there's a reason why you should go talk to that person and not hear about it from somebody else. And that's just healthy and scriptural.
Yeah, there's this old thing of, well, what if you just have a confidential conversation with someone? And it's like, the best way to keep a secret between two people? To kill one of the people. Yeah, that's the best way to keep a secret. And that's a horrible reality. So but this person may have made something out of it that it wasn't. And then when it got to you may have made something out of it that it wasn't. Because you were either angry or sad or looking at yourself and being like, I am the bleeping monster and self-loathing. Right. And that cycle is not healthy either. There's part of me that wonders if, because this is going to happen in the future, is there a way to shorten the cycle? And I'm not sure if there was, because if you were angry about it, then you could have actually done more damage in addressing it than the perceived damage of
if I would have had that conversation that week, it would not have gone as well as it did.
Right.
I think, and I know for me, I think for both of us, but I know that for me, where like I was in a much better place than about a week later when we talked about it than I would have been 2 days later. Right. And that's me wrestling with my own crap and them wrestling with their own crap and like that. But that's healthy in a community that we have both lived in for a very long time. Yeah. And we built relationship. And like, that's where, I think it's just a healthy part of community to talk about these things.
So Brene Brown, who's like an author, a self-help author, and has a number of different things that she's done. She says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And I changed it to clarity is charity. Like I do believe that. But it actually sounds like in your situation, bearing the cross of lack of clarity, which is what you did for about a week, was actually the most charitable thing that you could do, because that lack of clarity led to some anger, which wouldn't have been delivered well. And so that's an interesting thing to think about, of perceived hurt from someone is a cross that sometimes we just have to bear. Yeah. And that's hard, especially as leaders, because we want to be above reproach, and arguably we operate with high integrity. But when someone questions our integrity, even when they are wrong about it, it still feels like we just lacked integrity. Maybe I'm not as righteous as I thought, or maybe I'm not as upright. Maybe I messed up. I probably messed up. And then now all of a sudden you replayed that text message in your head probably 400 times between that 1 week and to the next.
Yeah. Who played more in their head? Me, that text message, or you, this guy that you met across the street from your mother?
100% you, the text message. I guarantee it.
I don't believe you.
Well, good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately it was all fine. We worked it out. Everything's all good. Like, we were both able to say our piece. We both apologized, and we moved on. Like, that's how it should be. And it just took us some time because none of us are perfect. And so ultimately it went well. Just an awkward, an awkward start, I guess.
So can I share with you a time that recently happened where someone was shockingly honest with me?
Sure.
It's kind of like seeking that clarity, but it was very direct. And so I get this phone call, and I pick up. I was waiting for a call from a priest, and so that day I was answering every number I didn't recognize. It was kind of work related, and I get this phone call, and they're like, "Hey, are you Chris Bartlett?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. Let's go."
Did you go to high school in Austin?
you shut your dirty mouth. You shut your dirty mouth. And then he proceeds to share some information, and I'm like, "Yes, that is my email address. Well, we want to let you know that things have been compromised. Everything's going bad." And I'm like, "Oh no." At that point, I was like, I think this guy's probably a scammer, right? It didn't take long. And I'm like, "Oh no, what are we going to do? How are we going to stop it?" And he continues on and walks me through a couple of steps. And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to send you an email." Because I was like, I don't even think you're really from this company, right? It was a Microsoft email. I don't really even think you're from Microsoft. He's like, "Well, I'll send you a verification code." And so he sends me this verification code. Taylor, he sends it to me to my email address, which is fine. And he goes, "Sometimes it goes into the junk box." Like, really? An official Microsoft email to an official Microsoft account is going to go into the junk box? Okay, I will check the junk box, and I find it. And guess what the verification code was? 612345. So I was like, "I'll read you the code. Is this correct?" He goes, "That's right. 612345.
You should have read a different number.
Oh yeah, he would have. Sure. And
is the number 777777? Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you did it. And then I hover over his email address, and it says, Microsoft representative at, And then it's just a shuffleofletters.com. So clearly it's just like a fake email. And so I said, okay, listen, I'm a polite guy. I'm in a good mood. I have some time. Do we want to go through this though? And he's like, sir, what do you mean? I said, because what's going to happen next is you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And then you're going to say, I'm going to text you a code, but really you're going to try and get a recovery password. And then the code is going to say, do not share this over the phone. And you're going to ask me to share it over the phone. At which point I'm going to call your BS out and we're going to be done. Right. And he goes, all right, you got me. Yeah, I'm a scammer. he just starts telling me the truth straight away. And he goes, that's our process. And this is what happened. You were a part of this class action lawsuit. And what ended up happening is all that data got leaked. And my company, the people I work for, purchased that data. And because it was a lawsuit surrounding this, then we know to be able to use some of that language to see if you have any other accounts that are similar to this in order to try and get your money. And I said, well, thank you so much for sharing. What should I do to get off that list? He goes, hold on. Hey, what if someone doesn't want to ever receive these again? Like he reached out to his supervisor or whoever's on the floor with him.
The strangest prank call I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard somebody be like, yeah, you got me. Here's how we do our thing. That's so weird.
Yeah, because, well, I called out some of their process. And I'll be honest, I enjoy a couple of social media people that are like busting scammers. But he was stateside. He's like, no, I am in Los Angeles, California. And we have a couple of call centers here.
And then you got him to give you his address and email account and bank account number.
And what's your mother's maiden name? I'm just curious. You said you're a good dude.
And you only wanted his mother's maiden name to figure out the name of her across the street neighbor.
Because I think we might have gone to high school together, Taylor. I'm serious. And we might have gone to high school.
DJ?
And so,
is that you?
Is this you? And he went ahead and he's like, well, you can change your phone number. You can change your email address. He goes, but to be honest, we have some AI that would help us figure out where you migrated to. So I would just say, don't answer numbers with this area code anymore. And I said, great. Thanks so much. I said, and if I could, you seem like a nice guy. He said, I am a nice guy. I said, you're a nice guy that is a predator on people to try and steal from them. So I think maybe you should do a job change and use your personality to make an honest dollar and maybe find Jesus. But I do appreciate your candor in your conversation today. All right, man. Thanks. Have a good day. And that was it. And I hung up the phone and I was like, did that really happen? I just called a scammer out and I was able to get him to politely and cordially spend an extra 2 minutes telling me, yeah, this is how the scam works. And this is what you should avoid. Have a good day. It was great.
You're a strange dude.
Thanks.
Because like, I really like want to make fun of you. It's an incredible story. I don't know why you didn't lead with this. This is way better than your mom's across the street neighbor. But it's an incredible story.
My high school classmate, you mean?
Yeah. Well, no. That's
the point. Yes, I know.
Your ability to evangelize and be a brother and give some fraternal correction to someone who is actively scamming you is incredibly impressive. Because if this was a what would Taylor do, Taylor just has an iPhone that automatically blocks these people. I just would never speak to them. And that's how I keep peace in my life, where I can think about things like, I don't know, offending people around me and not saving the lives of scammers and just sleuthing about my mom's across the street neighbor. Like, we just live very different lives. I'm trying to be a better person, and you already are so perfect that these are the only things you have to worry about.
I didn't pray with him over the phone. There were so many other things I probably could have done.
He prayed on you.
He did pray on me. I should have returned the favor. Yes. But thank you, Taylor. That was very kind.
What was it? I'm confused.
You didn't disparage my mom once in that whole conversation. Yeah, it was pretty kind.
I cannot wait to receive that text message from Kendra in a few hours.
Exactly. I'll make sure she waits until 10:30 at night. That way you have another CPAP pointless night. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, two other things. One being my health update. I have started two things. I have started, it's not a CPAP. It's a modernized fancy version. I think it's called an APAP, where it's automatic and it's very fancy. And because, I've said before that we met our entire deductible in the first 5 weeks of the year, so everything else has been free. So they were like, well, hell, you're not going to rent this thing. You're just going to buy it. We're going to give you the top of the line one. What do we care? So
CPAP by Gucci.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually Fendi, but you were very, very close. Yeah. And I'm going to wear it on the red carpet tomorrow, just with my Darth Vader mask. Well, I've been wearing it, I believe last night was my fifth night. This is very new. I just got it. And the first night, just utterly horrendous. But because of it being very high tech, there's just it's like your cell phone settings, where you can go to settings on your iPhone and find all the settings block unknown callers that are trying to scam me from Microsoft.
Sure.
But there's also settings for that. And I was able to fix it the second night that I used it. The second night I was traveling, and they gave me this fancy little Fendi carrying case, and I carried it we went to our state track meet, and which meant that this was going to be the first night that the second night that I was in a room with someone. So the first night was with my wife. The second night was with one of the other male coaches who, we had two queen beds and we were in the room together. I asked her the first night I was really struggling.
One bed for the luggage and then one bed for the both of you.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what we're doing. So the first night, mentally, similar to my sleep study, just mentally, it was very hard to calm down. It took me about 2.5 hours, and I kept waking up every time.
And you were at home for this first night.
I was at home for the first night, but I asked my wife the next day. I was like, it's loud to me. I sound like Darth Vader to me,
right?
But I can't tell what you could hear. She was like, it was very, very quiet. She's like, there's only a few times that I actually heard you. And it's when I was getting plenty of air, but it's my brain telling me that I wasn't getting enough air. So I kept taking these huge, yawn, big old breath. I'm actually even thinking about, I know it's mental because thinking about doing it right now, I need to do it. And I was essentially doing that every 10 seconds for about 2.5 hours. So you can't get comfortable. That's really loud. Normal breathing, very quiet, deathly quiet. But the big breath is loud to me. And I asked her, she's like, I heard it a few times, but she's like, honestly, it was way quieter than you're snoring. And I didn't snore at all because the CPAP completely fixed that. The next night, I was very tired. Night before state track, we had just had, or the night before the running of state track, we were there for the field day of state track. So I had walked 6 or 7 miles that day. It was a busy day. We were tired. I'd eaten a good meal. I fell asleep. It took me about an hour that night. I fell asleep. I slept for 7 hours straight. Didn't wake up at all. I asked the other coach, I was like, was it loud to you? Because he's a firefighter. So he's like, I sleep with snoring guys in a room all the time because they stay overnight and all this kind of stuff. He's like, it will not bother me, I assure you. Because I was worried about having a roommate with my snoring, all these sorts of things. And he was like, I didn't hear anything. He's like, it was great.
7 hours in a row for maybe the first time in 5 years. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yes. And the next night when I got home, I kind of struggled. I think a lot of that was just state track had just happened. It was the end of the season. It was just kind of an emotional day.
Sure.
So I didn't sleep. I don't think I would have slept well, period. The last 2 nights, I've slept incredibly well. And here's the big change. I think I told you, I can't remember what I told you on the last podcast, but in my sleep study, I had an event. I stopped breathing 37 times an hour, which is why I was never recovering. I was never fully sleeping because if you stop breathing,
you were dying.
My body will, I was dying, and my brain would wake my body up so that I could tell it to breathe. And I didn't feel awake, but I was just constantly awake for the last 5-ish years, right?
Yeah.
I went from 37 events in my 2 sleep studies to 6 the first 2 nights, 6 an hour on the first 2 nights. The last 3 nights has been under 1 an hour. Under 1. I have stopped breathing less than 1 time an hour when I was doing 37 last week, and I feel incredible. Now, I hate going to sleep because it mentally takes me about an hour to 2.5 hours on average the last 5 nights. I'm sure it'll get better. I'm still mentally kind of getting used to it. But once I fall asleep now, the first 2 nights, the settings were waking me up. Now I have my settings exactly how I want them because now I've tested it out and I've been able to do some trial and error. Bruh, I feel incredible. I have energy. I feel great. I look great. Let's go. Let's go. I can sleep.
You could outrun some of those kids at the track meet after. This is the first time I got 7 hours in a row and over, over 5 years. I'm going to race these kids. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Cause I know it was torture getting you there. And now we're at the other side.
And it's still kind of torturous. Like the idea of like, I used to fall asleep in 5 to 10 minutes and now it's taking me about an hour ish. That's still torturous and kind of sucks. But the thing is like, I would fall asleep in 5 to 10 minutes and sleep, quote unquote, for 8 hours and never rest. Now I'm like sleep because I'm still in bed for about 8 hours. So takes an hour to 2 hours to fall asleep. But once I'm asleep, I'm getting 6 to 7 active hours of sleep, which is way more than I was getting for the last few years. So
possibly combined. Possibly
exactly.
You got 7 hours of sleep. Your body's like, we haven't slept combined that long in forever. Yeah.
Yeah. So like just the incredible amount of suffering and torture that I had to go through and kind of some of the unknowns, and now everything is known because now I have actual evidence. Like on my phone, it tells me exactly how I slept, and it knows literally every breath that I took, and I have the evidence of like feeling better. So I was like, the amount of suffering that I went through is becoming worth it. And I'm hoping that it'll still be worth it. It's still incredibly annoying, but it's the pros are outweighing the cons. And I just wish I had an app that told me exactly how well or how poorly my prayer was going, because all I have is the feeling, and it usually just feels bad. And I wish somebody told me. I wish there was a device to make me better at praying, to make me better focused, to make me know. Like, there's all these stats of like, here's how many times you breathed or didn't breathe. Here's how many times your mask became a little bit too loose and there was some air leakage out the sides by your cheeks. Here's how many minutes you slept. Here's how many times you took the mask off. I wish I had stats for that, and that the Lord would tell me how I'm doing, because I always feel like I'm doing poorly, which is how I felt about my sleep for the last 5 years, until somebody told me, you suck, here's a device.
It's interesting because not all devices on the spiritual realm work the same for everyone. Daily readings, or do the liturgy of the hours, or pray a rosary, or a chaplet of divine mercy, or. And I recently have made a commitment to go to the chapel every day and spend 30 minutes in the chapel. And so it's been going on for a couple of months now. Yeah. And it's been phenomenal.
I'm the app telling you that you're doing well.
Thank you. Yeah. And I have a spiritual director who was like, okay, finally you're getting prayer down. And I'm like, we've been rolling for a couple of years. Why didn't you slap me around a little bit and be like, get your prayer life together? But I started that whole process off with a book called 33 Days to Morning Glory. And it's essentially a kind of lighter version of a Marian consecration, like St. Louis de Montfort's Marian consecration. It starts out with like, hey, here's, 20 minutes a day. And by the time you're done, it's like an hour a day. And it's just a little too much. But this takes about 15 minutes. And I enjoyed it. And then when I was done, I had another spiritual book that I was reading, and I wasn't for about 10 to 15 minutes. I just need 10 to 15 minutes of reflection in that holy half hour. And it allows me to use the time and build some other pieces around it. That's what's worked for me. And I know other people that live and die by the rosary, and I'm a fan of the rosary, and other people that live and die by the liturgy of the hours. But man, when I finished my last book, I was like, what am I supposed to do during this prayer time? And the Lord said, listen, have you tried listening? But that's a different story. That's me and Jesus.
And you said, what?
I said, what? No, give me something to progress through. I need something to progress through. I really do. And the Lord's using that and working through that. So I found another book, and it's been so good that would be my spiritual CPAP. And I know the Lord has one for you, Taylor. It has one for everyone, because He desires us to come to Him more than we desire us to go to Him.
Yeah, that would be an impossible thing to be less than.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you mentioned the settings and the adjustments. Like, what does it mean to tweak your prayer life the same way you were tweaking that machine?
I don't think I'm at the tweaking place. I think I'm at the kind of like you said, like I wish you would have just told me to go to the chapel 30 minutes a day. But the irony is, if he told you that, you wouldn't have done it. Like, there's just something fascinating about us and our spiritual life and that sort of thing.
We have to discover it or uncover it. Yeah.
Right. But I'm hoping. Well, I wouldn't say I'm hoping. That's dangerous. I think I've already ruined it. I think I've already ruined my future by saying that, even though I didn't finish the sentence.
You're talking about God and you're afraid you jinxed it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly how he works, whether you like it or not. Everyone believes it too. It's like, oh, if you ask for patience, what is God going to do? We all say he's going to give you opportunities to be patient. I feel like that's what's about to happen to me. Like the wake up call, like I knew that there was something wrong for many years with my sleep and my body and the things that were happening that shouldn't be happening. And I feel like I've been in a similar place with my spiritual life, and I need the same kind of wake up call that my sleep study was for my spiritual life. And I know by saying that he's going to be like, all right, you're Job now. And that's terrifying. But I don't know. I think, and maybe the spiritual life just isn't as easy as getting a new machine and it fixes everything. And I think that's kind of what I want. But I don't know. I think I need to do something, and I don't know what it is.
Well, St. Ignatius talks about in his journey towards holiness, how God convicts before he comforts. Because when you're in a place where sin is comforting you and you're taking delight in things you shouldn't, then he convicts you and you should feel like garbage because you're eating mud instead of the banquet table. And then
I assure you that's not how I gained weight.
Sure. But when you're moving away from God, God often uses conviction, or it should sting. It hurts. And God will use that to draw you back to him. And then when you're moving towards God, the devil is the one that's going to convict you, and God is going to seek to comfort you. And so I would look at those movements and say, where am I at? Am I feeling guilty for having a bad prayer life? Then that's conviction. And what areas of my life am I ashamed to bring towards God in prayer? Because I think that he might be trying to convict me in those items. And then when you start running towards God, there's going to be consolation. And so find out what that looks like. And maybe there's even more segmented areas in that. You're like, my marriage is really good, but the way that I'm interacting with my coworkers, I'm feeling more convicted here and not consoled. And listen to that and see what God does.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I have been feeling quite consoled recently, where like
it's because you got sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And just, dude, like I can't say enough how much the stress of not like wondering if I'm gonna be able to buy groceries this month. Like that's just a stress that's been over me for
the new job has been a gift
15
for quite
years,
some time.
and so when I went to the doctor today just for my normal checkup, my blood pressure was 120/84, and that's good for me at home. I have had white coat disease, the white coat syndrome or whatever, for my entire life because I had a very bad experience with blood when I was a test subject for Baylor Medicine. That's a crazy thing to say out loud, but they did test me because I was incredible. But I had a bad experience. So like when I go and do my blood pressure, like it's a normal thing for me to take it at home, and it'll be 130/90 or whatever. And then I go to the doctor and it's like 190/100 because I'm freaking out because I'm at the doctor. I went today and like I'm in such a good place that I'm getting healthier and I'm sleeping. I think that was probably part of it. The fact like my body was just constantly in fight or flight mode because I would never slept. And now I've slept and my body's like, yeah, you're going to be okay, dude. It's just a doctor. Like you'll be fine. But I've been feeling quite consoled, and actually a Father Anthony-ism. I think I stopped focusing on my spiritual life being sin management. And I'm just like, I'm actually like, you mentioned something earlier of just like, I don't know if you said righteous or doing the right thing. It's like, I think I'm doing pretty well in that. I still have my little pet sins and these sorts of things, but it's like, that used to be the sole focus of my spiritual life. And now it's just like, am I doing the things that God wants me to in my job and my leadership at the parish and in my family and as a track coach and all, like, I think I'm doing pretty well. It's just that, but it's kind of shocking because every saint ever is like, your ministry is going to go as your prayer life goes. I'm like, I don't know. Prayer life hadn't been all that great, but my activity in my own spiritual life, not just ministry, because I know that's a danger too, but like, I'm doing pretty well, which is, so it's kind of like a conviction amongst the consolations, which is cool.
I would say that it's important when we're talking about how well is your prayer life going, that we don't use a number of metrics. The only metric you should use is, did you show up for prayer? I
want an app. I want metrics.
I'm sure. But if you're like, yeah, I went to pray today and I didn't really feel it. Like, did you show up for prayer? Yeah. How long did you pray? 15 to 20 minutes. And do you do that every day? Every single day. You are going to be a saint. You are going to be a saint. 100%. When we stop showing up is when the enemy has the room to draw us away. Otherwise, we are fortified. And yeah, it's one thread at a time. And it takes a long time to build a fortress or to build the kingdom of God one thread at a time. But every day, one thread at a time strengthens and fortifies you in a powerful way. So keep showing up and I'll do the same.
That's very good. Well, we should close, but I have one more story. You got time
Thread,
for one more story?
Close, huh?
I wasn't paying attention.
Close. One more story, Taylor. Hit me.
I wish you would close your mouth.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, the last time we recorded an episode, correct me if I'm wrong, was during Holy Week. It was not after Holy Week, correct?
Yeah, because I moved my mom down like Easter week, so it would have had to have been.
So I have not told this story yet because I have not told you my story of the actual Easter Vigil. I think we recorded like during Holy Week and we're like looking forward to it. So
yes,
Easter Vigil, I go and I'm there as a worker. I'm also a sponsor for somebody who's coming into the church and being baptized in First Communion, confirmation, all that stuff. And also my family is going for the first time. We talked about bringing them. It was cool. But here's the issue. We get there and I have a row for every person coming into the church had their own row. So it was me and this couple, but they weren't using the rest of the row. So I was like, would y'all mind if my family comes and joins so that like we can have a family affair for the Easter Vigil? They're like, sure, we would love for them to come and be here and celebrate with us, right? Like it wasn't just so it was good. Except I get there and like I'm the sound guy. You know how Easter Vigil like starts outside with fire, then we all come inside. Like I'm doing the sound for that. Like I'm working. And so about 5 to 10 minutes into Mass starting, because everybody processed in. I tore down the outside sound equipment, brought it inside because it was raining. Like I couldn't have my sound equipment out there for 3.5 hours. Brought it in. As Father's going down the aisle, he's like, the AC is not working, fix it. So I go around and I turn on the AC. I also open up like the windows so that it can be a pleasant experience for the parish. Like that's part of my job being there because my job is to do pastoral things while he's being an active priest during Mass. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I do that. So 10-ish minutes into Mass, I go and I sit down. I only missed 2 of the 97 readings, so I really didn't miss all that much, right? But I sit down and I give a fist bump to the guy that's coming to the church. I look at his wife, wave. I look down at my kids. I see my girls. I see my wife. And big important part of this story is, did y'all went to the Easter Vigil? Yeah.
Yes.
How long were all of the lights off in your parish?
During all the Old Testament readings, maybe 30 minutes.
It's about an hour and a half for us. It was about an hour and a half, hour 40, because we didn't turn them on until the Gloria, and we did all of the readings, and we did the outside procession. So it was about an hour and a half, hour 45 to do all the readings, all the Psalms, all of that, this is the night, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're going to do the Gloria. And so it's pitch black. Like we have a couple of runner lights for safety and then fire. Like that's the only light. It's very dark. So I look to my right. I see the couple, I see wife, I see the 2 girls, and I'm like, where is my son? No big deal. It's Mass. He's probably peeing or pooping in the back. It'll be fine. 5 minutes later, I look over and I like whisper to my wife, I'm like, where is Chris? Where is he? And she literally throws up her hands like, and I'm like, so I've noticed this for 5 to 10 minutes. She's been sitting here for 30 minutes and like, our son is gone. Like, where is he? Right? So I start walking up and down the aisles on the sides of these two main aisles. I'm not going to walk down the middle
the whole time.
Squinting, trying to find my son, who's pretty tall, but like, dude, the church is packed. There's 1,000 people in this church that fits 900. Like, it is packed. And I cannot find him. I'm walking up down the aisle. So then I'm like, maybe he's outside with the fire people because some of his friends were out there, helping start the fire. I go outside. The fire people are gone. Then I'm like, maybe he went to he knows that the party after is in the pack. I walk over to the pack. So I end up missing like another 30 minutes looking for him. I'm trying to call him and use Find My iPhone to find him. But of course, my wife was like, no, you can't bring your phone to church. And I'm like, that's why I pay for it. So for moments like this, so I can find him and locate him. And so I am literally looking for him for like 20 to 30 minutes. And then I start freaking out. Because I'm like, I don't have many options here. Like my son might have been kidnapped.
Sure.
Because we were all outside. There were all sorts of people. Horrible. So much going. So I start thinking worst case scenario. And I'm like, he's being tortured in a closet right now. Like actively. We're all at church. And like, this is going to be a 3.5 hour mass. Like, if he's been stolen, like I can't just sit
They
here.
could be in a different state by the time mass is over.
Right. So and of course that thought, and then the balanced normal thought is like, no, he's fine. He's probably in there. I don't know, whatever. Right. So I'm going back and forth. But then the longer it takes, the longer I start going towards the worst case scenario. Right. And I'm like, I have 2 options. I have 3 options. And one of them is actually, or the last one is actually the second option. The other thing is, I go out of the church, I go to behind the altar, and I look and see if he's an altar server, because maybe Father pulled him up to be an altar server last minute, which has happened in the past. So I'm behind the altar. I'm literally doing rounds in the church, and people at the end were like, what the hell were you doing? I'm like, I was looking for my kid. Leave me alone. Like, I know it was distracting, but I don't care. I don't care, because I was looking for my kid. So at this point, we're like an hour in. I can't find him. I have walked up and down every aisle and stared at every aisle. Super creepy thing to do at church. Super creepy thing to do. But I can't find him, and it's like, whatever. I literally started the mass by trying. I'm there to make the mass as good as possible for everybody else, to help everybody have a good experience at Easter Vigil. And now I'm just walking by and staring at people. Like, I'm not doing my job, but it does not matter, because if my son's gone, I have to leave. So after going to the pack, after whatever, I'm like, do I call the police? But if I call the police, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to come into the church and they're going to turn on the lights. So I'm like, do I turn on the lights? Do I ruin mass for everybody else to be able to find them? So those are really my only other 2 options. And finally, I just like, I'm like, I have to calm down. I have to just believe that he is here, so that I can relax, so that I can, like, my heart's going crazy. I just got to believe that he's here. Yes. Sure enough, the lights come on an hour 30, hour 45 minutes in. He's sitting, of course, in the place that was hardest to see. He's towards the back, but not always all the way in the back. And he is in the middle of a pew. So like, these pews hold 50 people. He's the 7th or 8th one right in the middle. Yeah. He's surrounded by all these other young adults. He just got adopted by the young adult group that was there. So he's surrounded by these trees of people. And I pull him out, and I bring him to the narthex, and I'm like, dude, I have been looking for you for an hour and a half. How did you not see me walking up and down the aisle looking like a crazy person? Why didn't you wave or step out? Like, what? And he was like, he was so shocked. And I had the moment that Joseph and Mary had with their teenage son. Did you not know that I'd be in my Father's house? He was literally like, I've been right here the whole time, and I didn't notice you because I was paying attention to the readings and praying.
Like, remember those things you've been trying to get me to do my whole life?
Exactly. And I literally, this is the night that you decided, this is the night that my son finally decided to pay attention in mass. Why did you choose today? It stressed me out so much. And then I brought him up to our aisle. We brought 30 people into the church. We had a huge celebration after. It was an awesome evening. But I finally got to experience what Joseph and Mary did when they lost their son in the temple. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. He is risen. He is risen indeed.
That joke was made multiple times. I was like, he's for sure dead. And then not 3 days, but about 3 hours later, he was alive.
Yes.
So. Well, happy continued Easter, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. I'm glad that your whole family is well, including your son who was lost, but now he's found. The prodigal son in one Easter vigil.
Yeah. Very, very silly. Well, I'm Taylor Schroll. That's Chris Bartlett. We'll be back in a month. See ya.